Hello, Florida. This is Joe Mullins of the Live Workshop Play Show, and welcome. And we're going to talk about why Florida is the greatest place to live, work, shop, and play in the greatest country in the world. Today, we're doing a very unique show. We're here at the Duval Republican Executive Club, and we also have some very special guests with us. We've got the REC Chair, Charles Barr. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And then we also have a very special guest. If somebody doesn't know who this guy is, you've been hiding under a rock. We've got the LG Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Florida, Jay Collins. Jay, welcome to the show.
Well, Joe, thanks for having me on. It's always great to be here in Duval, right? So thanks for having me.
I love it. Georgia grad here, so I know we're going to have some mixed people here. But Georgia, Florida Gate. When you go to the stadium, you see some amazing stuff going on. You see so much development, so much construction. You see our beautiful state growing in some major ways. So what I'd like to start to talk about with it is, what do you think is attributing to everybody wanting to move to the great state of Florida?
Joe, that's a great question. Obviously, we know we have a few things going for us in terms of weather, sunshine. It's a beautiful state. We all love those parts of it. But really, it comes down to leadership. We have Governor Ron DeSantis. I'm asked a lot, where do you think Florida would be if Governor DeSantis hadn't been elected 6.5 years ago? America would be if he wasn't elected, because that man stood alone. When COVID happened, he stood against the entire country. He stood against other nations. He took it on the chin daily for each one of us. That leadership mattered. We are the conservative proving grounds of America. What we do here matters. Other states follow us. And why are people coming here? Well, because this is government done right. Look at New York, look at California, look at Oregon, Washington state. Failed governments, failed policy, failing families. We do it right. We lead from the front. That's why people are coming here, Joe. It's pretty clean, pretty cut, pretty dry.
One of the biggest issues that I saw as an elected official was, and it's been this way, and I've been told in every county in America, one of the top issues is public safety, law enforcement. Just recently, we're speaking about Duval and we're speaking about the Jaguars. Just this past week, one of the football players for the New York team was shot the night before the game. And the NFL put out a statement, this lawless state in Sydney. Ironic to just a few years ago when they put out that they are trying to be more pro-community, trying to be more pro-love. They didn't back law enforcement. Let's say that way. They were that way. Now, all of a sudden, the shifts changed when one of their own gets shot, almost murdered. But you see the events out in California. The last time we went to an event out there, my other career is a sports and entertainment agent. I had one of the ladies there. She was 72 years old when she touched the countertop of the bar at the left her eye. And she immediately was standing there with all of us and fell to the ground and turned gray. Paramedics ran in and they said, she's overdosed. And her husband said, my wife is 73 years old. She's never touched a drug in her life. Fortunately, she touched the counter. It had fentanyl residue from someone being in there prior. She rubbed her eye and fell down. As we went to the game, we stepped over a lot of homeless people. You couldn't walk down the sidewalks. We're hearing this across the country. Why is Florida just the opposite?
Well, again, it goes back to leadership. You make a choice what you stand, right? Look at California, look at Gavin Newsom, look at New York, New Jersey. All of these northeastern states, frankly, find themselves in the same boat. You've got to be tough on crime. You've got to hold people accountable. The most base part of our communities, of our state, of just being a growing and burgeoning community and safe, is to have everybody feel safe and secure, Joe. If they don't do that and they're worried about people breaking in, harming their family, breaking into their stores, what's going to happen? How can you live your life? How can you build something better when you're just trying to survive? It's like the hierarchy of needs. You got to have shelter and protection from the crazies, right? Look at California, $1,000, right? Anything below $1,000, they're not going to proceed. They're not going to hold you accountable. Can you imagine that happening in the state of Florida? You steal something here, you're going to get chased down. You're going to get apprehended. You're going to do your time. You're going to face justice. You will. You've got to hold people accountable. The other side of it is this. When we talk about law enforcement, we talk about being tough on crime. You got to remember the men and women behind the badge, the men and women who are moms and dads, who are sons and daughters out there doing amazing things in the communities. They're serving our community in times of crisis, and they're serving our community day in, day out, putting their neck on the line it takes a toll on them and their families. Guys, we got to talk more and more about the best and what they do and honor them every single day. It's time people's training. You put your money where your mouth is. You support the people who support us. Ultimately, those people protect our way of life. They stand there and they stand in the breach every day. And unlike New York, unlike California, unlike states like that, you aren't going to have to do that. And it comes from leadership. Governor DeSantis, there is no way he was going to put up with that. Not a chance. You want leaders. I could promise you this, zero chance, zero chance I would ever allow that to happen. Not on my watch, not here. I have been shot and bled for this nation. I lost a leg for this nation. I will not see lawlessness break it down to break down our way of life. Long story, not in Florida.
Now, as we saw, you had mentioned the COVID time and Governor DeSantis's election. You were very close to having a different governor. Just a few weeks later, the former mayor of Tallahassee, who ran for governor and almost won governor of Florida, was found in a hotel room doing drugs with another man, with a couple of other men, in a unique relationship. And you do think, God, what would our state be like today? As an elected official, I was very strong on keeping our beaches open so we could walk freely. Right. And we were very close to having them cut down. As an elected official, I'd travel across the country and people would tell me, yeah, but y'all are stepping over boundaries in Florida. We're not going to do that. We're being safe for our community, but we're going to need money. And y'all send some to us. So we hear that.
Yep.
So Florida's always been the model state. We've shown the rest of the world to behave. You know, we're seeing a lot of people move to the state of Florida. We've got some challenges here with infrastructure. We've got some challenges with the growth and what we're doing. What do you see the state of Florida doing to address these ongoing?
Well, Joe, that's a great question. One, the governor jokes about this. We're going to put a wall up between us and the rest of the country. You know, I'm not sure it's going to be a thing, but sometimes you wonder, we got to put out some messaging here as well. If you're from New York, California, you're fleeing the nonsense that's going on there, leave your politics behind you. Don't New York or Florida. Let's keep it free. Get your hands out of the cookie jar. Do not doing all that nonsense. Show up, show out the right way, and help contribute to making Florida better each day. So what do we got to do? Ultimately, we have between 800 and 1,200 people a day moving to the state of Florida. That's a lot of people. It is when you think about that. Call it 1,000 just for simple bar math, right? 1,000 people a day over the last several years. That's incredible. So where do they go? What do we do with jobs? What do we do with energy? What do we do with roads? Thank God, again, we have a governor who's prioritizing the things that matter. With his approach on transportation, you see us pressing things forward. We have pushed roads forward by 10, 15 years at a time, trying to get them wider, smoother, to get more toll lanes, to solve problems and get people moving from point A to point B. Energy. I ran an energy bill, as it was 2 years ago. They got rid of a lot of the Obama era subsidies and all the nonsense, green energy crap, and which is silly, right? But what it did was make sure we have safe, affordable, reliable energy as our primary approach. That's it. No games, nothing. Math wins, the energy to the people. We've got to get involved in small modular reactors. I think that's the future of the state of Florida. But we also have to do that in a way that doesn't up the costs to the consumer, keep the price low, keep the market moving forward. We got to meet the demands of all these people moving in here. If we lose power and you have brownouts, things like that in the state of Florida, and take California, that's not going to cut it. You have a 5-day disaster response for a Category 5 hurricane to get the power on. People are not going to be patient if you have brownouts because of air conditioning. I promise you. We got to keep that right. And, the last part that I think we want to talk about on top of supporting our men and women in law enforcement and be tough on time in our roads, our energy sector, you got to draw and build jobs. This is something Marco Rubio talked about 10 to 15 years ago in his first book. He made a bad bet and we offloaded blue collar jobs in manufacturing all over the world, thinking we get white collar jobs back. We're doing a much better job than most states here in Florida, but we have to keep pressing. You want to build wealth, we got to get the government out of the way. So that means more deregulation. That means getting you as business owners, as leaders in the community, to do what you want to do more efficiently, get the government out of the way, and stand up for individual freedoms and rights. And then ultimately, we got to get our hands out of your pockets and remind people across all governments that it's not the government's money, it's your money. That's it. It's simple. you keep more of your money day to day, solve those problems, and let you and your families lead and grow across the state of Florida. That's how we do that. Then you draw the right people in, because success begets success. Is that something?
Now, the next question I have, let's talk about the economy. I probably defer this to you, Chairman Barr, talking about the property taxes, Doge. Jacksonville just recently made some major news all over the world. Matter of fact, another thing when I heard from Germany was, oh, you guys have a great hologram at your airports. And so with saying that, I'm going to defer to you with this next question that we talk about the property taxes and the accountability.
Yeah, so I guess I have 2 points. One, on the property tax, as you know, the governor is pushing for property tax reform. Those of you out here who have worked your whole life, you pay for your house, and especially now if you're older, my age or older, boomer or greater, you never quit paying for it. If you think you own the house, just don't pay your taxes for a few years. And I always say that a man with a gun will come and see you. So one is, what is your opinion on that? How should we go forward with that? And another one, like you mentioned, the Doge CFO Blaze has been going around the state. I think he found, if I remember right, about 199 million, 200 million here in Jacksonville of wasteful spending. And of course, we got that $60,000 to $80,000 Donna hologram. That's a great use of money. So what are your feelings on the Doge issues, the economy, and of course the property tax?
Well, happy to answer those. So Doge, or FAFO as we call them for, and I like our Florida upgrade. FAFO is a great way to put this, but just find out. And one, Blaze is my guy. I truly do. He's a conservative warrior focused on controlling. If you are doing this and you're spending money, you're wasting money, he's going to find it. He's going to root it out. And he's going to put it out there on his signs. And we're going to talk about it as a state, and he absolutely should. We can't be silent on these things anymore. You got to say it like see it. You got to call fair balls and strikes. And you see that happening with Blaze. But remember, I do have a better beard game than Blaze, even though both fall with a beard. Just make sure you remind him that next time you see him. So let's talk about property tax. Y'all remember that movie from the 90s, The Highlander? Yeah, there can only be one. That's how this is. You can only have one bill move forward. You can't have 6, 7, 8 bills running through there simultaneously. The fact of the matter is, this is supposed to change our Constitution in whatever we do. You got to get 60% of the votes from across the state of Florida. 60%. That's a high bar. It is very difficult to do that. We have to pass it in both chambers. If you have multiple bills running at the same time, that's to confuse, one, the chambers, and two, if multiple bills happen to be on the ballot, almost zero chance of success. So what do we want to do? One of the things I love about being lieutenant governor is I get to travel the state. I get to talk to people like you. I get to talk to people in all corners. And overwhelmingly, it's been exactly what you talked about, Chair. The government out of their homesteaded properties. They do. They want the American dream. They want to own their home free and clear of the government. And they want to live there and pass it on and live that American dream. And here's the other thing I know. If you aim for 20% reduction in property tax, we'll probably hit that. That's it. It's easy, it's safe, it's meh. You know, it's like overcooked rice. I just, you eat it, whatever. If you don't aim for the precipice, you don't aim for the top. If you don't aim for excellence in all you do, you never. What I love about Governor DeSantis, I can promise you, that is something he and I geek out on together. You got to go big or go home, man. The people want freedom from property tax and their homesteaded properties. We have to fight for that. We have to push this. The governor is going to release his plan here soon. He will. But whenever that is, we'll talk about it. We'll sit down. We'll get into the details. Maybe on your show, Joe, you want. And we can go through this piece by piece by piece. So that's his release. I've got his back no matter what. But I know he wants to have a bold approach. He's listening to people. And in the end, we serve the people of the state of Florida. That's our job. It's our responsibility. We're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure we get that done.
Thank you. Well, hold on. Let's go back to the hologram. What do you think about wasteful spending on that?
Well, I don't know that I would have chosen a hologram with other people's money with OPM on this one, but you know, I guess you saw she FAFO'd right on this one. And come on, man. I mean, seriously, why are we spending money on nonsense like that? You better spend it on things that matter for the people.
Especially in a time where we see inflation. We just came out for a 4-year nightmare. Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. A 4-year nightmare where we saw some of the highest gas prices, the highest food costs. healthcare being as high as it is. Uh, what tends to happen is a lot of states and county governments don't realize it's not their money, it's the community's money. And it's very important to have leaders like you guys in office that understand that, because I can't tell you how many, as a local official, how many people came up to me and said, I'm going to call the governor on you because you're pushing this or you're not doing this. And I said, go right ahead. And literally the next day, the governor would come out and say, we're going to support this kind of initiative, like not wearing masks or not closing our businesses or not turning around and taking money and giving it to illegal immigrants, stuff like that. So very crucial as a local to have leaders above you like that, because you kind of stand a little stronger when you know you got your state for.
That's it.
We're talking about the economy and the importance of the economy. Let's talk about jobs and also immigration. One of the biggest issues that we see across the country, and we've heard from, again, a former elected official and being traveling all over the country, I hear people go, no, there's just no jobs. And I kind of see the opposite of it. I think there's plenty of jobs out there, plenty of opportunity, but we also have to protect our jobs for our American citizens, for our kids, for our veterans, for our seniors. We have to protect those jobs. But there's also people right now that are challenging, saying Florida should open up and allow illegal immigrants to have these jobs or have an opportunity to work. We Americans don't want to work, which I don't believe that. I don't think that's the case. What is your comment on that?
Well, I was one of 3 people that stood alone with the governor to make sure we have the strongest illegal immigration bill in these United States. One, and we passed that, and we are in a great spot because of it. But let's just break it down. I'm going to share a little bit about my family and my wife's family. My wife is an active duty retiree. She did 20 years as a hiring agent. I did 23, most days a Green Beret. We've been to a lot of places. When it comes to this, think about her family. They're Lebanese. They're immigrants from the mountains of Beirut. They came here the legal way. They fled terror and war, and they came here to live the American dream. She fought for our nation. She deployed abroad. And I think every time we let illegals come in and take our jobs and stay here indefinitely, getting money from the taxpayer, we break that blessing for people who do it the right way. We break that promise for people who do it the right way. And then let's look at it this way. I don't think we have a problem with skilled workers. I don't think we have a problem with good people willing to work. I think we have an illegal immigration clause broken our agreement with the American people. We have put the illegals over them because the Democrats, you said repeatedly, as a nation, the Democrats are in charge. Guess what? We're going to prioritize bringing people across the border, breaking down our way of life to make sure they vote for us. That's what the Democrats are doing over and over and over again. But how great is it to have a president like Donald J. Trump who said, you know what, we're going to shut that border, get it done now, right? And to have a governor working with him with our programs and our 287G agreements. We are doing more in the state of Florida than all the other states combined. It's incredible what we're doing because we listen to the will of the American people. It wasn't a Republican issue. It wasn't a Democratic issue. It wasn't an independent issue. It was an American issue. And they said, fix the border, get tough on illegal immigration. And we got to remind people that we serve the will of the people. We don't serve the will of a politician who wants to get reelected. We don't serve the will of the illegal immigrants who want to come in and invade the nation, hoping to stay here and push out and take jobs. You serve the will of the American people. You're our bosses. We work for you. We serve this state and this nation. We are blessed to get that opportunity.
Now, just recently, we saw an election. I didn't even know there was an election going on, but we did hear we were hearing a lot about the mayor race in New York, but we also had 2 other crucial elections. What kind of wake-up call is this to us that we had a presidential endorsed candidates and none of them won in 3 areas? Governor of New Jersey, the governor of Virginia, which was very shocking of Virginia, and also the mayor of New York, who, my God, you're talking about destroying New York now.
Yeah.
Some of the things he's saying, he's going to actually arrest people if they come in, leaders from the rest of the world. And some of the things, and he actually threatened the president. So we see these 3 elections, these key elections. How important is this for a wake-up call for this community, this state, and this country?
Joe, look, man, tomorrow is never guaranteed. I believe tomorrow is the most important and blessed word in the English language. I do it. This is coming on each of us to understand what hope is a part of that. There's hope eternal in these United States. Right here in the state of Florida, we can choose to make tomorrow what it is, but it's also not guaranteed. Guys, we have 1.4, almost 1.5 million voter advantage in terms of Republicans in this state. 5 years ago, we were upside down 300,000. That turn happened because of each of you, because of leadership, because of those conservative values being driven forward. This is not the time to lay it up easy and hit the brake and worry about making everybody happy. This is a time to drop the hammer, hit the gas, all gas, no brakes, fight, work every day. We should be at 2 million and we should never relent because it's not about us. It's about protecting and preserving what we have for the next generation. Guys, candidate quality matters. If we don't put the right people forward, we can lose races. I don't want my children to grow up in the utter nonsense. Think about what could have happened with DeSantis. Think about what we've fought for and how far we've come as a state. That can all be lost. We don't focus on the values that got us here, and we don't continue to fight each and every day like our lives depend on it because they do. This state will lead. We can't forget what we're fighting for. America depends on each of you to fight here, to flip Duval, push this state greater, further, and faster every day. When Florida leads, America wins.
We have got a big race coming up next year. We've got our midterms. Congress is going to be in play. Some Senate seats are going to be in play. But for the state of Florida, we've made a lot of big and important positions. What is your input on the state of Florida's races and what makes a great leader? What makes a person the person?
Well, I'll tell you, I heard about this little race coming up here in 26, that thing or two. And look, leadership comes at a cost. That cost is, I believe, self-service. It's not about me. It's about we. It's about what's good for the people. How often have we heard people tell us this is done, this election's over, it's too far, don't even bother? Guys, Ron DeSantis wasn't in a race till Jen. Rick Scott would have never been the governor of that whole state. Those races were done. You got to earn it. You got to fight. And in the end, this race is really about the future, not only of this state, but this nation. We, as a nation, depend on bold, conservative leadership. One of the things that matters to me and a way that I weigh the service of whoever is going to be in charge is simple. How are they going to do under pressure? Governor DeSantis wasn't America's governor until COVID happened, and he saved America. Heck, he might have saved the world. One man by himself, isolated, having to make hard decisions. That is leadership. What I don't want from our next leader is for the very next thing they face, that's hard, be the hardest thing they've ever dealt with. I want people who are battle tested, who have gone through things, who have led and fought and made a difference each day. They have fought and won. Those things matter. I want people who are going to represent our values, our way of life, and put Floridians first. If you can't talk about what's important in this state, then you shouldn't be in charge. Earn it, fight for it, and Florida could be yours, but you got to earn it in this state.
LT Collins, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. This has been a very enlightening and educational show. I think really the takeaway from here is making sure we vet our candidates very closely.
That's right.
But we want to thank you. Chairman Bart, could you let our listeners know how can they get involved with a great organization like Jacksonville REC?
Well, they can contact the local party. Of course, if they're here in Duval, they can contact us. They can go to duval.gop, our website, and connect with us. They can get hold of me, chairman at duval.gop.
Lieutenant Governor, how can people reach out to you or your office if they have an issue or they see something going on?
Well, Joe, I appreciate it. You can reach out to us on socials. It's J Collins FL. That's JAYCOLLINS FL. You can go ahead and reach out to our office. Any of our staff, the call will be directed. Just Google Lieutenant Governor of Florida. The number is going to pop up. And you can reach out to us that way. But hit us up on socials. Give us feedback. We'll get back to you. And ultimately, God gave us 2 years and one mouth for a purpose. We need to hear from you. You can't solve what we don't know. And I don't think anybody wants government, even in the free state of Florida, just making stuff up without the people helping us understand what the needs are in your communities. So give us a call, reach on out. All right. Appreciate it, Joe.
We want to thank our listeners and we want to thank our guests. And we are proud to be live here in one of the greatest counties in the greatest state in the greatest country in the world. Remember, If you want to live, work, shop, and play, duplicate Duval County to be one of the greatest places to live. Thank you and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.